What I'm going to do is show how I skin a beaver. You know, there's a lot of different ways to skin beaver. Some people use a cradle. You know, basically, whoever taught you how to do it, a lot of times you stick with that. And, you know, if it works good for you, this works good for me. If I got a 2 pieces of wire coming off, you know, bolted to the back of the table. I got hooks on it, which, you know, you'll see in a minute why I do it. I got different knives. You know, I got the weeby knife. Got the beaver skinning knife, which I'll explain why we're using this as I'm using it. And this knife I use to cut it off. My dad made this knife, so it has special meaning to me. So, you know, that's why, you know, I use this one. But I like having a knife sharpener. It helps to have a sharp knife. All I'm going to do, I'm just going to take, and I personally like to cut all 4 feet off. I leave the tail on. You know, some people leave 1 foot on. It's just easier for me to, you know, when I get going, to pop that hide off. It seems weird to me because when I was race trapping beaver, through my whole childhood and teenage years, my dad would always cut the front right foot off the beaver, and he'd do it at the pond, and he'd throw it in the back in the pond. You know, it was supposed to, you know, release the spirit of the beaver back into the pond. And, you know, when he became a Christian, he quit doing that. And I still do it once in a while. Not because I think the beaver has a spirit, necessarily, just as a traditional thing. So if you ever see any of my beaver that got the right front foot cut off, that's why. Releasing the spirit of the beaver back in the pond, so there'll always be beaver. This one, spirit will have to be released here in the workshop, so. Alright, now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut around the tail right here. Just kind of sear around it. I'm not going to cut all the way through because it makes it easier to handle when you're, you know, going to throw them away. You know, throw the carcass away or haul it around or whatever you're going to do with it. Alright, what I got here is a retractable knife with a hook blade. You know, I had to buy them separate. They work real good. It goes all the way out, but I'll pull mine in a little bit, like so. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just hook this in there, but I don't have the blade all the way out because I don't want to sear into the guts. So when I go to pull a little bit, the guts don't start coming out. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take that hook blade and get it started, like so. And what I want a straight cut all the way down that beaver. What I don't want to do is have it like this going down there. It makes it tough to, you know, stretch them, you know, round, oval like they want them now. And I'm just going to keep that cut as straight as possible. And I don't want to get into the guts. Like so. I'm just going to cut it right to there, right to where I seared that tail. So got a nice straight cut all the way down. Then what I'll do is I'll go right here, and I just start it right here. And there's a thing called clean skinning. I've tried it before. It isn't for me. I'm better off not. My dad could do it real good, but I tried to get him to show me, and he says, your best bet is just sticking with scraping, because he says you don't have the patience for clean skinning. So, you know, I probably won't be showing you that one anytime soon until I perfect it, and apparently I don't have the patience for it. So, what I'm going to do is just work that open, like so. Get this like this a little bit. Now, what I like to do, because I didn't cut the crease in the guts, You know, you can just pull that hide like so. Open it up a little bit, less scraping. What I'm doing is just working that around. And if you're gonna eat this beaver, what you don't want to do, this is the caster. If you haven't ever beaver trapped or skinned a beaver before, this is the caster area. If you take this knife, the knives we've used have already touched that. So what I would do now is where, you know, skin around, get a different knife, clean this one off if I was going to eat this beaver, because it'll contaminate the rest of the meat a lot of times. And that's probably a lot of times why, you know, people don't like beaver meat. They say it's strong because it's been contaminated with the caster, which is, you know, real strong in this area. So, you know, just be careful if you want to eat them. And the reason we use a rounded edge knife is because everything's rounded here, and you know, if you're using a pointy knife here, you got a better chance of stabbing through. So on beaver, it's best to use a beaver knife with a rounded tip. What I'm going to do is I'm just cutting around that edge. And I'm going to find that end of that where I broke that foot off. Just pop that through, like so. I'm going to do the same thing on all four legs. Just keep working it until I get it. I'm going to find that end. Just keep cutting until I find it. Just going to take that beaver, flip it around like so. I'm going to do the same thing on this side I did on the other side. You can get pretty fast skinning beaver. You know, there's a lot of guys that are faster skinning them than what I am. But I'm never in a race. I'm in a sprint race. I'm more in a long distance race. All right, so now that I got that, I want to get that end done. I'll just kind of cut that around there. You want to make sure you don't cut too much down into the hide, because you'll get scores in the hide. You know, you'd have to really cut it to make a big difference, but it's best to, you know, be aware. What I'm going to do now is I'm putting the hooks in. That allows me to pull that beaver up on an angle like so. And, you know, I can work the back of that hide. You want to be real careful here, because it's not like up in here. It's easier to cut a hole back here on the back end of that beaver. Alright, all I'm going to do, take the hooks out, flip it around, take the hook, put it in there, take the hook, put it there, do the same thing I did on the other side. Just be careful on this tail end side. Gonna keep working that. And the thing is, when you're skinning the heads out and stuff, you know, just take your time, do a good job. You know, it all matters in the end how your fur, you know, looks when you get it put up. You know, if you're a big yank and, you know, cut big holes in the head and everything, don't give them no excuse to downgrade your product. That's the finished one. That's how they turn out when I end up skinning them, and you know, just slices off real fast. So anyways, just if you like the way I do it, set it up that way with the hooks and everything. It works. You can see it works real good to keep the, you know, working on the back side of that hide. And I'm gonna get to do the next one.
These are the moments I thank God that I'm alive. These are the moments I remember all my life. I find all I've waited for, and I could